What's up, guys? It's Josh here with Superior Strength LLC. A little bit late this week on this one, guys, but I wanted to go ahead and break down the squat technique as far as getting underneath the bar and getting that set up. I've got two different videos for you. I've got one where I'm getting underneath the bar in a high bar position and a low bar position. Let's go ahead and check those out. Okay, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get underneath the bar here. I'm going to be demonstrating a high bar back position in this video. As you can see, as I pause the video here, that bar is resting right on top of my traps, guys. The goal is to have a good elbow position. That means the elbows are going to be underneath that bar. I'm going to be really trying to pull that bar down into that shelf that I've created. To get underneath this, guys, I really recommend, just like I did, I just pulled myself underneath the bar evenly on both sides, and that helps out a lot. Okay, so we'll play here. Next thing I'm going to show you, stacked wrists. Okay, so what I'm trying to demonstrate here, guys, is your wrists should be nice and straight, or at least stacked to a point where you're going to be able to apply tension through them. And what I mean by that is you're going to be able to pull the bar down as well as bend the bar across your back while keeping those wrists nice and straight. You'll see a lot of people, a lot of beginners, they have flexed wrists when they're doing their bench or doing their squat. It's almost like they're trying to support the bar underneath with their arms. Don't make the mistake of doing that. Okay, once you get underneath that bar, those wrists are probably going to be bent already. So go ahead, consciously straighten them out, and then pull down nice and tight, sit up nice and tall. That way you can get your back tensioned up, shoulders set up, and your elbows set up for the squat. So we'll play the video here. So I've got stacked wrists, bars, high bar position, elbows are underneath. I'm going to stand up, take one step back, two step back, adjust my feet if I need to. And that's going to be my starting position, guys, okay? So you can see when I lifted that bar off the rack, I did not have a staggered stance. You want your feet even and underneath you, just like if you were squatting. You want to tension your core, shoulders, pull that bar down, squeeze those glutes, get that pelvis nice and steady, and kind of like bow your legs or push your knees out a little bit. Just kind of getting the weight ready by getting your body tensioned. Then you just stand up out of the rack, take those steps back, and you keep that tension in your body, and you're in a good start position there, okay? So now that we reviewed that high bar, we'll go to the low bar position. Okay, so low bar, guys, going to be a little bit different. As you can see, I'm going to pull myself underneath the bar the same way you would do it for the high bar position when I start. But one thing I'm going to point out right away, my feet are closer together, okay? The reason for that is because when I place that bar lower on my back, it's going to be lower for me to start, which means because these J hooks are right at the point where they could be too high for the low bar, I put my feet closer together so I stand up a little taller, okay? I'm still going to, when I step back, have my feet underneath me, but I'm going to step out and into my final stance when I do back out of this rack, okay? So we'll pull myself underneath that bar. And what I like to do when I get low bar, guys, I start out really low, and you can see this is cranking my shoulders back quite a bit. Really important thing is shoulder mobility, specifically your bicep tendon and your bicep muscle. You can see, guys, that the bicep, even though it's flexed, is one of the heads is definitely under a lot of tension. So having good mobility and being able to open up your chest is going to really help you get into this position. Okay, so then what I do here is I just slide up, or slide down, I guess, whatever, until I get into the nice little groove on my back. We're going to zoom in on my wrist first to show you the same stacked wrist that I had before, nice and straight, being able to apply tension. And then this is what I want to point out. This is the difference, okay? So high bar is going to be up on top of those traps above the E's there, okay? This is still a little high, I guess, for low bar. Some people would have them below the rear delts, but for my mobility, this is the best I can do for low bar. It's right on top of my rear delts, right on that line where the rear delts cover the shoulder joint, and it's sitting on top of my lower traps. That's a really good spot, guys, that you want to sit for that low bar. Nice and tight position. Still doing the same thing, bending that bar around my back and pulling it down, keeping my tension up in my upper body. So same thing I'm going to do here. Got everything set. I'm just standing up. See, my feet are a little closer together, so I step out a little wider. I get nice and tall, sit up tall for that rep, and that's all it is, okay? Easy peasy. So there you guys go. Getting underneath the bar during the low bar or high bar squat isn't too big of a deal. Just a quick refresher over what we talked about in those demonstrations. Key things you want to make sure that are important in your setup getting underneath that bar. I want my feet to be the same width that I will be squatting with. Nice sturdy stance. If you need them to be closer together, that's totally fine. But I still want to have those feet planted firmly underneath me, and I'm already applying tension into the ground before I bring that bar out of the rack. Okay, the second thing, guys, is making sure those shoulders are set up. You're squeezing them back, pulling them down. You're trying to activate those lats right here to get that spine nice and secure. You're squeezing down that front stomach, and you're stacking those wrists by when you get underneath that bar, straightening out those wrists and pulling that bar down nice and tight, okay? And then the third thing, guys, of course, is making sure that you keep total body tension during the entire set, okay? As soon as you take that bar out of the rack, you should be already tensioned up. You're stepping back, keeping that tension, and you're trying to maintain that tension the whole entire time. That'll give you a nice, good set in terms of rep efficiency, okay? If you guys got any questions on that, let me know. Next week, we're gonna go ahead and dive into some deadlifts, so make sure you check that out. Until next time, see you later.